Hello. So today we're going to look at two-step equations. You have a handout that's got a bunch of word problems on it. And this handout contains every one of these word problems that you see in the slideshow. Okay? And if you were watching the two-step equation video with the practice, I talked about this handout and I believe I showed it to you because it was the next page. That's what we're going to use. We're going to use that handout. All right, so we did one-step equation word problems, but two-step is a little bit more complicated. One, we're going to read through these. Then as we read through it, let's circle, highlight, underline anything that sticks out to us. Like just glancing at this problem, the first thing that sticks out to me is divided. I just see that first off, it sticks out to me, and I've not even read it. And then once we underline, highlight, circle some things, we'll go back and try to form our equation. And then once we do that, we will try to solve to figure out what it is we're looking for. Okay. So on this, and by the way, if you hear a tapping noise, that is me selecting my pen colors and stuff, and I apologize for the tapping noise. Dahlia bought a few swirl marbles and divided it. So she divided it equally among 4 of her friends and her brother. So 4 friends plus her brother. So she took and divided it right here among 5 people. That looks like an S, but it's a 5. This is harder than it seems. While playing, Jake lost 2 marbles. Way to go, Jake. If he lost them, that sounds like we would subtract that. Because you lose something, you're going to subtract it. Whereas you gain something or you find it, you're going to add it. And he has only 7 marbles at present. So this is the total number that's currently left. 7. Why this is making weird dots, I don't know. That's strange. We are to find how many marbles Dahlia bought in all. Right here, this has only 7. That's what he's left with. Why is this like dotty? Spent good money on this pen. Better work. All right. So now that we've figured out what we've set our equation equal to, because that's all he has left, let's go back to the beginning. So Dahlia bought a few swirl marbles. How many? We don't know. We got to figure it out. So let's use a variable. How about M for marbles? So she took what she bought and she divided it among 5 people. So she started with this amount of marbles, then she divided it among 5. You guys, this looks terrible. And then Jake lost 2. Again, way to go, Jake. This is terrible looking. It's not the end of the world, I don't think. I hope. So now that we've got our equation, we can start solving it. So we got to get our M by itself. First thing I would look at doing, get rid of that 2. So let's add 2 to both sides. I hope this way this looks is driving you nuts too. Just so I'm not the only one. The 2's cancel each other. They make a 0 pair. And then we're left with M divided by 5 is equal to 7, well, the sum of 7 and 2, which is 9. You guys, this is bad. This is really bad. This is so bad. And next, we need to multiply both sides by our 5. Oh, I'm getting better at it. 5's cancel here. We're left with M equals the product of 9 and 5, which is 45. So that means in a word statement, complete sentence, find how many marbles Dahlia bought in all, or how many marbles did Dahlia buy in all. Dahlia bought 45 swirl marbles. That is a 4, even though I don't even know what that looks like. Okay, let's erase that. Bought this pen, made this really cool, awesome slideshow. Now I'm thinking my document camera and a piece of paper might just be easier. Oh, the things I do. All right, next up, number 2. Maybe it'll work better when I draw on number 2. Oh, forgot to erase them. Yeah, I have to have sound effects. I don't know why you're surprised. All right, number 2. A bus departed from New York at 11 p.m. with 44 passengers. So it started with 44 passengers. An hour later, a few passengers got off at New Jersey. Okay, so they got off. So we subtract them. The number of passengers who boarded the bus at New Jersey were twice. That means 2 times, guys. Twice the number of passengers who got off. Okay, I think I've found our variable. The few passengers that got off in New Jersey, we have no idea. We'll just call that N for New Jersey. So we'd have to subtract them, but they were twice that number. Twice that number is who boarded. Twice means 2 times. Okay. If the bus has, that's our total. The bus has 50 passengers now. How many passengers got off at New Jersey? All right, this one's a tough one. I'll admit it's tough. And we're going to go through and we're going to do it exactly like it reads. First of all, it ends with that they now have 50 passengers on the bus. So we now know that there are 50 passengers. I think if I write slower, it might pick it up. 50 passengers on the bus now. Okay, so now let's go back to the beginning. The bus started with how many passengers? 44. Started with 44. Okay, this is looking a little better. Then some got off the bus an hour later, but we don't know that number of people, but they got off the bus. So we'd have to subtract them from the 44. That's an N, by the way. So they got off in New Jersey, and a whole other group of passengers boarded the bus at that time. And the number that boarded was 2 times the amount that got off. So we would need to add those people because they're getting on the bus. But it's 2 times this amount right here. Still trying to write this slowly so it looks a little better. Could be worse. And then we end with that have 50 passengers. All right, now we need to solve this to figure out how many passengers got off at New Jersey. Now, we've done 2-step equations, but this is actually a multi-step equation. But you know what? I'm confident you guys already know how to solve this. First thing I would need to do is combine my n's. I've got -1n and +2n's. That's really 2 minus 1. Guys, that leaves me with 1n. So now I have 44 plus just n. You can put a 1 in front of it if you want. Now, why that line is straight on 44 and not on my n, I do not know. Equals our 50. Maybe it's just my computer. Super slow. All right, now our goal would be to take the 44, move it to the opposite side. So we're going to subtract 44. By the way, this is subtracting 44. Just to let you know that. I know this pen worked better yesterday. It's just obviously having an off day. Now we're left with n equals, and then the difference of 50 and 44. By the way, that's 50 minus 44. in case you can't read that, because I can't read it, is 6. So that means, it says how many passengers got off at New Jersey. 6 passengers got off that bus at New Jersey. So this is a word problem. We would answer it in the form of a sentence. So how many passengers got off at New Jersey? 6 passengers got off the bus at New Jersey. Okay. Okay, number 3. Clara lends half her collection of formal attires to her sister. Ooh, she lent half. Pretty bold, Clara. Clara then buys 4 more attires. She buys 4 more. So that tells me she's adding 4 to her collection. If she has, there's our answer, or our final on one side of the equation. She has 12 attires now. How many attires did Clara have initially? Typo. Don't tell Miss Dodson. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set it equal to 12 because that's what she has now. I've determined that curves is what my pen does not like. It doesn't like the curves. So she has 12 now. Now here's the hard part. So she started with a certain number and she lends half of that. Half can be written a few ways. It can be 1/2 times the amount we don't know, or it could be the amount we don't know divided by 2. I would choose divided by 2, just so I don't have to work with the fraction 1/2. So that's how I'm going to go. We're talking about attires. Let's just use the variable a. So a divided by 2. Let's see if it'll let me write my 2 a little bit better. Could be worse. Okay, then she buys 4 more. So she's adding 4 more to this collection. Sometimes it likes the line, sometimes it doesn't like the line. So she's adding 4. And that's it. Now we've got our equation. We just need to solve it to figure out how many attires Clara had initially. So to split our 2 sides, if you want, you can draw the line down the middle. I'm not going to do that. I didn't do it on the last one. I'm not going to do it on this one. You can on yours to help you, and I will do that on my written copy. I'll take a picture of the written and give it to you guys. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. Let's start there. Start by subtracting 4. By the way, I'm drawing a line. It's only picking up every other aspect of the line. Okay, no more drawing of the lines. Okay, except for this. You guys, I'm not a professional at this. All right, so now I'm still left with A. That's an A. Divided. That's divided. Oh, you guys. I would like to just reach out and say thank you for your patience, because I think I'm about to lose mine. A divided by 2 is equal to, see here, the difference between 12 and 4 is 8. I'm going to try to blend that with this random line that's already there. Okay, now we got to get rid of that 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2, which is a reciprocal of 1/2, mind you. See ya. And then the product of 8 and 2 gives us our answer. And A, that looks a little better. Watch it end perfectly. And A equals 16. So that tells me that Clara initially started with 16. So how many attires did Clara have initially? Initially, I would start with Clara had 16 attires. I'm actually not going to use my little stylus pen. Putting that guy off to the side. I'm going to try to use the mouse, the cursor. This will probably work out better. All right. The Rock Zoo nurses 37 species of big cats. 37 species. At least it's not birds. Hey, that's not too bad. Recently, a few species of big cats were sponsored to other zoos around the country. So they were sponsored to other zoos, meaning they were sent out to other zoos. Okay. So since they were sponsored to other zoos, that would recommend a subtraction. Like you're taking them from one and sending them out to others. The zoo now nurses, so it now nurses only 25 species. So basically it now has only 25 species. How many species of big cats were sponsored to other zoos? This one's actually more simple than it sounds. Our total on one side of the equation is indeed 25. Hey, look. Oh yeah. You guys, I should have just been using this all along. Wasting my money on that stylus. What was I thinking? They started with 37. And they sent some to other zoos. Some. We have no idea how many they sent. So there is our variable. What are we talking about? Cats? Let's just use a C. Of course, you can use whatever letter you want. Feel free to just go rogue with it. I'll even draw my line down the center because it's working with the cursor. Sorry, I got excited. All right, so now we need to get rid of our 37. So we're going to subtract 37 from both sides of the equation. Ooh, I'm about to see a negative. Have no fear. You'll see what happens. So don't flip out on me. All right, these cancel. Look at this. You see this? I'm left with a negative C. That means negative 1C. The coefficient's a negative 1. We can't have that. We're going to fix that. Don't worry about it. Okay, over here it's 25 minus 37, or the difference between 25 and 37, which is indeed 12. And it's a negative. It's a negative 12. Why my negative sign is slightly askew, I don't know. Okay, here's where we get rid of this. In order to get rid of the negative with our variable, we divide both sides by that coefficient, negative 1. You got to remember, there's a 1 there. He's just not written there, so we don't have to see him. We know and we understand there's already a 1 as a coefficient. Our negatives have now canceled each other because you guys know a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And now we know that the number of cats that they basically sent out that were sponsored to other zoos was 12. Now you can go back and answer this question a complete sentence. How many species of big cats were sponsored to other zoos? All right, last one and we're done. Hallelujah. This pen's killing me. All right, Megan and 4 of her friends plan to go for a long drive. Where are you headed, Megan? So Megan and 4 of her friends. That sounds like 5 people to me. She buys 12 bottles of frappe. Jeez. And a few bottles of orange juice. Okay, so she's got 12 bottles of frappe. So we know she buys that, right? See here. And then she also bought a few bottles of orange juice. Ooh, we have no idea how many bottles of OJ she bought. I'll say a B for bottles. The total number of bottles they have are 4 times. Woo. Okay, total number. That sounds like we need to add those two together. Bottles of frappe, bottles of OJ. So the total number of bottles they have are 4 times that of orange juice bottles. Well, we don't know how many orange juice bottles there are. Okay, so 4 times, boy, put B for bottles. Jeez, Megan, you're making this complicated. How many bottles of orange juice did Megan buy? So guess what we don't need here? We did not need to know that it was Megan and 4 of her friends. That's a trick. We don't even need this spy right here. Tricky little Megan. All right. How many bottles of orange juice did Megan buy? Oh, Megan. Well, we know the total number of bottles is 4 times. That's where they get you. Thought about having you guys do this one on your own. But glad I did not decide that. But if you want to try it, hey, go for it. You should have already paused this video. Okay, so the total number is 4 times that of the bottles of orange juice. So 4 times B. B for bottles of orange juice. So basically, if we add the 12 bottles of frappe and we add the whatever bottles of orange juice, we're going to get whatever 4B is. Okay, so we know she bought 12 of the frappe. Hope they don't drink those at once. Plus, however many bottles of orange juice, I don't know. All right, we're going to get to this over the next several days. This is still kind of a two-step equation. It's similar to where we had to combine our like terms a while ago on the second one, on number 2, the one with the bus. You know, we had to combine those variables. Okay, this is a lot like that. However, I need to get all of my variables to one side of the equation and have all my constants, like the 12, on one side. This is a multi-step equation with variables on both sides. So you guys are kind of getting a preview of what's to come over the next few days. So since I have 4 B's over here, I want to go ahead and move this 1 B over here with this guy. So I treat him just like I would a constant that I'm trying to remove from one side of the equation. So I'm going to subtract him from both sides. And the reason I subtracted him is because he was a positive to begin with. I'm canceling him out. He's gone from this side. I'm left with 12 over here. And now I have to find the difference. The difference between 4 B's and 1 B is now 3 B's. And then now this is just a simple one-step multiplication problem that you guys have been solving for a long time now. So I need to get this B all by itself. So the 3, he's got to go. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. When I do, see ya, 3's. The value of B is now the quotient of 12 and 3, which you guys know is 4. So that means that Megan bought 4 bottles of orange juice. Lots of frappe, little orange juice. So Megan bought 4 bottles of orange juice. Okay, now trim this page up whenever you're done with it. Put it in your notebook. It is the next topic.